I'm an Omega who ended up in a world where everyone is just normal. No alphas. No betas. No dynamics like I'm used to. Because I can't adjust to this new environment. I go into heat almost every single day. My aloof roommate discovered my secret, and surprisingly, he chose to keep it from me. After ruining several pairs of pants and dealing with an aching gland at the back of my neck, he leaned in close, his hands sliding lower and lower. You smell amazing. I can't take it anymore. I want to wreck you until you cry. 1. It's happening again, that overwhelming, out of control feeling. Stumbling into an empty lecture hall, I collapsed behind the door, trying to steady my breathing. A sharp, prickling pain flared at the nape of my neck. My head spun. My whole body burned. And my legs were starting to give out. I was in heat again. This dizzy, feverish state had already lasted 2 days. It was an allergic reaction to something in the air here, something I wasn't used to. A sweet scent of peaches filled the room. And before I could stop it, my scent glands started releasing pheromones like wildfire. **T. I cursed under my breath. I reached up to touch the back of my neck. A whimper escaped me as my entire body trembled. My brain was on high alert, my glands were already swollen. So hot. It felt like I had a furnace burning inside me. The whole classroom was saturated with that sugary peach aroma. And now the secretion had started again. I crouched down, barely holding on, and thought miserably, guess I'll be stuck here until school ends this afternoon. I pulled out my phone, trying to text my roommate for help, but my hands were shaking too much. I couldn't even type out a full sentence. My eyes burned. And before I could stop them, tears rolled down my cheeks. How did I end up so unlucky? Thrown into a world with no concept of alphas or omegas. Every little thing triggered my heats. And there weren't even suppressants in this world. If just a heat phase was this bad, I didn't even want to imagine what would happen if I went into full rut. Suddenly, the door was pushed open. The light was so harsh I couldn't open my eyes. And my phone slipped from my hands, clattering to the floor. Cameron. What's going on? I blinked slowly. Everything sounded muffled, like cotton in my ears. It wasn't until he grabbed my shoulders and pressed a hand to my forehead that I could finally see who it was. A sharp-featured, unfairly attractive face. Dominic. My cool, impossibly good-looking roommate. You're burning up. Come on. I'll take you to the infirmary. He squatted in front of me and held out his hand behind him. Climb on. I'll carry you. His shoulders were broad, his muscles visible even under his plain white t-shirt. Lean but strong. His body radiated a cool, pine-like scent, one that was dangerously attractive to someone like me. I swallowed hard and didn't dare move. I was afraid I might lose control. You can't get up. He frowned. Then didn't wait, just bent down and scooped me up in his arms. As his arm brushed my lower back and thigh, he paused. His hand was suddenly slick. He froze. What is this? A warm liquid coated his arm, staining the waistband of his shirt. The peachy sweetness hit him full force, making his head spin. He even stumbled a step. I clung to him desperately, like he was my last lifeline. Face flushed and voice trembling. And no, not the infirmary. Please. Take me back to the dorm. 2. When the worst of it finally passed, I felt like I'd been dragged out of a swimming pool, every inch of me was soaked. My clothes clung to my body like a second skin. My mind slowly cleared. When I opened my eyes, I met Dominic's gaze. The way he was looking at me was strange. My face went pale. Did he figure it out? That I'm not like them? I'm fine. Just a heat spell. A little rest and I'll be okay. I'm gonna take a shower first. As I pulled back the blanket, I caught a glimpse of my pale legs. I was still wearing shorts. But beneath me was a piece of clothing that clearly wasn't mine. My face turned bright red. I stammered. Did you? I saw your pants were soaked. So I took them off and used my jacket instead. Dominic said plainly. What exactly got your pants so wet? Smells good. Like peaches. Did you spill juice or something? I nodded quickly. Humiliated. Face burning and ears on fire. That wasn't juice. It was something omegas release when they're in heat. Dominic's throat bobbed as he swallowed. It smells really good. Kind of makes me want to taste it. Did he even realize what he was saying? My brain was on the verge of melting. I felt like my head was about to explode from embarrassment. I forced my weak legs to carry me off the bed and practically threw myself into the bathroom. I turned on the faucet and scrubbed myself until every trace of that sticky fluid was gone. Then I leaned in close to the mirror to inspect the gland at the back of my neck. Red and swollen, like a cherry so ripe it was ready to burst. One little bite, and you'd get a mouthful of sweet juice. I shivered, shaking off the intrusive thought, and frowned at my reflection. After the heat comes the rut. Without any suppressants, I was probably going to be torn apart. I finished showering in anxious silence. Wrapped in a blanket, I searched online for sedatives. Then debated how to ask my academic advisor for time off. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Dominic carrying a basin into the bathroom. A crisp pine scent filled the air and hit my nose. My head started spinning again. And my neck grew hot. Propping myself up, I croaked. Dominic, are you wearing cologne? Something with pine? No. He answered. Then why do you smell so good? I mumbled. Dominic froze for a second. Then picked up his pace and slammed the bathroom door behind him. 3. The air was faintly filled with a cool pine scent. In my dreams, I felt like I was in a cedar forest. And the heat in my body seemed to ease a little. Half asleep, I heard my roommates talking. He's burning up, Cameron. Wake up. Someone shook me gently. I opened my eyes. Even my eyelids felt hot. You're running a fever. We should take you to the campus clinic. No need. I mumbled, forcing myself to sit up. I grabbed the glass of cool water by the bed and downed it in one go. My throat finally came back to life. I'll be fine with some meds. I really don't want to go to the clinic. Dominic looked at me with a frown. The scent of ripe peaches started to spread in the air again. I wrinkled my nose. But I couldn't suppress the pheromones leaking out. Luckily, they were all ordinary humans, none of them could smell it. So I didn't bother trying to control it. Dominic's deep black eyes fixed on me. His Adam's apple bobbed as he spoke in a low, raspy voice. Get some rest. I'll let the professor know you're out today. I was too tired to care. I nodded vaguely. And the moment I laid back down, my eyes closed again. A cool hand brushed against my forehead. That same cold pine scent hovered near my nose. I instinctively reached out, grabbed the hand, and pulled it closer, greedily inhaling. Dominic froze. His gaze darkened. In my dreams, the scent seemed to drift further and further away. My whole body started to ache like it was being pricked with needles. I broke out in a thin sweat and sat up groggily. A whiff of that cold pine scent came from the direction of the balcony, gently tugging at my pheromones. My eyes reddened. I couldn't resist walking toward it. It was the shirt Dominic had worn today, and his underwear. I yanked them off the line, hugged them tight, and buried my face in them, breathing in deeply. The back of my neck grew hotter. My skin itched all over. When I finally snapped out of it, I realized the fabric in my hands had already changed. It wasn't what I'd grabbed first. The cotton was soft against my palms. The cold pine scent was even stronger now. I lowered my head and inhaled deeply with satisfaction. Suddenly, the scent seemed to explode, intense and overwhelming. My body trembled from the sudden stimulation. The burning heat now blanketed by a cold wave. My head cleared a little. I turned toward the scent. Dominic stood in the doorway to the balcony, holding a bag of medicine. His face was flushed, and his eyes locked on me. His Adam's apple bobbed again and again. "Cameron, what are you doing?" My head spun. I looked down at what I was holding. My hands trembled uncontrollably. I couldn't toss it aside, but I also couldn't keep holding it. In a panic, I placed it on top of Dominic's jacket and whispered, "Sorry. I'll wash it for you." 4. I sipped my medicine, sneaking glances at him. Dominic was undeniably attractive. He was 191 centimeters tall, with that cold, refined face. If we were still in the ABO world, he'd absolutely be an S-rank alpha. "You like me?" he asked out of the blue. I choked, coughing up a mouthful of water. "That's a huge misunderstanding," I blurted. I was burning up and out of it. I thought it was mine. "I'm really sorry." Not very convincing. We definitely weren't the same size. I glanced at him guiltily. He didn't say anything, just got up and opened the window. He sniffed and asked, "Cameron, do you smell something weird?" What smell?" I asked nervously. My fevered state made my eyes misty. My face was unnaturally flushed. Dominic swallowed hard, his voice suddenly low and rough. "A peach scent." My entire body tensed. "I just had a peach earlier, maybe that's it." "Weird. I don't smell anything." "Does a peach usually smell that strong?" he asked, looking thoughtful. "Got any more?" "I want to try one." The glands on the back of my neck pulsed violently, itched from the inside out. I quickly covered them. "No. I'm out." 5. A peach's scent is that strong? I kept replaying Dominic's words in my head, starting to suspect, was he an alpha? How else could he smell my pheromones? And he carried that cold pine scent too. The scent of an S-rank alpha. That realization hit me like a lightning bolt. I was on the verge of going into my heat. There were no inhibitors to be found in this world. Naturally, I started eyeing him. Wanted to make him my living, breathing suppressant. But we weren't that close. In the week since I landed in this world, I hadn't gotten emotionally close to anyone. Right now, the top priority was to get on his good side, just in case he might turn his back on me later. I started being extra nice to him. He said he wanted peaches. I bought him an entire bag of fresh ones. He went to eat. I stood in line for him. He went to the library. I saved him a seat. When he played basketball, I brought him water. If it rained, I handed him an umbrella. I looked after him in every way possible. Even our other roommates started picking up on it. One of them teased, "You into Dominic or something? Chasing him?" "No. I denied. He helped take care of me when I was sick. I'm just repaying the favor. The roommate just grinned knowingly. Blushing, I asked quietly, "Do you think Dominic likes guys?" The worldview here wasn't like in the ABO world. Some people were totally uncomfortable with same-sex relationships. I had no idea how Dominic felt. The roommate laughed. Like he'd figured it all out. "I don't know. Why don't you just ask him?" He was right. I needed to know. If Dominic really couldn't accept it, then I'd just have to beg him for a temporary mark during my heat. Otherwise, I might actually die. After saving him a seat again, I leaned on the table, agonized for a while, and finally asked, "Do you like guys or girls?" I was still running a low-grade fever. It had been nearly a week. I could feel my heat getting closer. Dominic looked at me thoughtfully. He asked the same thing he did last time. "You like me?" "Nope," I answered quickly. Then, still not giving up, I asked, "Do you think it's weird to bite a guy's neck?" Dominic gave me a long look. "You want me to bite your neck?" Yeah. The glands on the back of my neck started to heat up again. Dominic didn't say anything. His eyes seemed to ask, "If you don't like me, why would I bite your neck?" But I pushed forward anyway. "Do you think you could sleep with a guy?" Dominic stared at me for a moment. Then suddenly said, "Cameron, are you trying to seduce me?" My face went up in flames. The heat prickled across my skin, spreading fast. "Kind of," I admitted, blushing furiously. "Don't like me, but want to sleep with me. Cameron, you really play dirty." My ears were burning. I buried my head in my arms and pretended to be dead. Dominic let out a quiet laugh. Just hearing it made my ears tingle. So what did that mean? Was he okay with giving me a temporary mark? Or was he open to a full, deep mark? He didn't really say. If he was okay with a temporary one, could I get a bite every day during heat? Still, sleeping together was probably the safer bet. One deep mark could last me 3 months. And honestly, I couldn't take this dizzy, feverish state much longer. 6. Class finally ended. And just as I was about to ask again, Dominic pressed a finger to my lips. His ears read, "Let's eat first. We'll talk about the sleeping arrangements later." I followed him, still worried. Suddenly, a stabbing pain shot through the back of my neck. My legs gave out, and I clutched Dominic's sleeve before collapsing to the ground. A wave of heat surged through me. My glands swelled, and a red bump formed behind my neck. My skin flushed, and my eyes filled with tears. The scent of peaches rushed out of me, almost visibly clinging to Dominic like mist. He stumbled, then crouched beside me. His usually calm expression cracked with concern. "What's going on?" His fingers brushed my forehead, cold, with the familiar scent of cedar. I grabbed his hand and held it to my lips, sighing in relief. Dominic froze, his neck instantly flushing red. You've overheated. I'll take you to the hospital." "No. I can't go to the hospital." I looked at him, eyes wet with fear. He hesitated, clearly unsure. "Then what do we do?" I bit my tongue, forcing down the desire, and said seriously, "Take me to a hotel." "What?" Dominic stared at me in disbelief. I was burning up. I yanked him down with me. He knelt, brushing against my feverish lips. "Have you ever seen an animal in heat?" I breathed. That's what's happening to me. It hurts. Can you help me? His mind went blank. Voice trembling. What are you saying? I had no strength left. I let go of his hand and curled up on the ground, trying to fight the waves of heat. People began to gather. I must have looked terrible, flushed and barely conscious. Dominic, visibly shaken, removed his coat and covered my head. He picked me up and said, "My friend has heatstroke. I'm taking him to the hospital." Then he called a car and brought me to a hotel. 7. I lay on the hotel bed, restless, clinging to the sheets. The peach scent was thick in the air. Dominic's voice was hoarse. "What do you mean by a heat cycle? You go into heat?" I looked at him helplessly. Why was he still asking questions at a time like this? I wanted to lean in, to feel his cedar scent calm the fire burning in me. "Dominic, it hurts. Can you please help me?" He swallowed, edging closer. "How?" I exposed the back of my neck, the gland glowing red. "Just bite here. It'll help." Dominic touched the area, hesitated, then bit gently. The cedar scent surged through me, quelling the heat and flooding my nerves. I gasped in relief, the pressure lifting. When the temporary bond ended, I sat up slowly, cheeks still red. "Thank you." He licked his lips, eyes dark, his scent suddenly intensifying around me. I went weak at the knees. Wait, was that a response to me? Could it be Dominic's entering his own receptive phase? Dominic really was an alpha? I didn't get time to process. He tilted my chin, leaned in, and softly pressed his nose to my gland, whispering, "You smell amazing." His breath was hot against my skin, reigniting the fire that had just been calmed. "I don't think I can hold back," he muttered. "I want to make you mine." 8. Aside from the short breaks Dominic took to extend the hotel stay or bring food, we barely left the bed. At some point, I realized changes in my body. I tried to push him away, whispering, "We shouldn't." But instead, everything intensified. 9. The mixture of peach and cedar lingered in the room for 3 days before it finally began to fade. I slowly opened my eyes and sat up. My skin was covered in marks. Dominic sat next to me, staring at his hands in disbelief. Honestly, it was kind of funny. He probably didn't know a person could even last that long. Not to mention, a few times, well, we didn't use protection. My expression changed as I rushed to the bathroom, trying to undo what might have happened. But it was no use. I came out pale. "This is bad. I might be pregnant." "Ha!" Dominic looked up, stunned. A man getting pregnant, definitely a shock in this world. I quickly added, "It's okay. I'll take responsibility." He said, "No need." I waved him off. A lifelong bond is complicated, but at least it's better than the random fevers. My head was finally clear. "What did you say?" He blinked. I said, "You don't have to take responsibility. Let's just call it mutual help," I said, bending to pick up my clothes. But he grabbed my wrist, eyes red. "Why shouldn't I take responsibility? Do you really not like me?" "Ha!" I was startled. Dominic looked like he was about to cry. I sighed and sat down beside him. After all this time, I trusted he wouldn't report me or freak out. So I explained everything about ABO dynamics to him. After talking myself hoarse, I drank the water he brought me. There. Now you understand. We were just helping each other. So by your explanation, I'm basically an alpha in your world? Yeah. I can smell your cedar scent. Dominic looked serious. You're alone in this world. As an Omega. And I seem to be like your alpha. Let's stay together. Alphas and Omegas are made for each other. I regretted explaining all this. No thanks. Why not? I don't like you. You don't like me, but you wanted to sleep with me? Isn't that just the nesting instinct during your heat? It's not real. I don't think that's true. Dominic slammed the door and left. Wait. What? He left. But I still needed to schedule our next heat cycle. 10. While Dominic wasn't in the dorm, my roommate quietly came up to me. What happened between you two? Did you fight? No. Not at all. I replied. Confused. Then why aren't you clinging to him anymore? Mission accomplished, I didn't need to keep trying so hard. Maybe someone else would do. Dominic is really hard to get. I nodded without much opinion. Suddenly, footsteps came from behind. I turned and saw Dominic standing at the door. My roommate awkwardly slipped away. Only then did I realize Dominic looked upset. Was it because I didn't make him take responsibility? Did Dominic like me? No. Maybe it was his alpha pride that couldn't stand being treated like a tool. He misunderstood me. He didn't know how intense the alpha's receptive phase could be. Last time, it was just mutual consent at best. He gave me a resentful look and slammed the bathroom door shut. My dirty clothes were still inside. But I decided to wait until he came out. Left and right. I waited, but he never came out. I fell asleep on the bed. When I woke up again, my clothes were hanging on the balcony. Almost dry. The dorm was empty. The faint scent of cedar filled the air. I smiled. Dominic was cold on the outside but warm inside. Even angry. He still washed my clothes. A warm feeling slowly rose in my chest. I wasn't just stuck in this world without ABO dynamics, I had also lost some memories. I lived on a barren planet of the Empire. Orphaned young with only my younger brother to rely on. He was seriously ill. Since I could remember, I had been working non-stop. With no friends. No social life. And no one to care for me. Dominic was the first. My mind was in chaos. I buried myself under the covers. Not knowing what to do. 11. Somebody posted the photo of me collapsing on the floor to the confession wall. In the picture, my face was flushed and my eyes full of tears. The post blew up. With thousands of comments. My personal info was posted everywhere. Comments like, "Looks like she's begging for it. Wanna hook up? Feeling itchy back there? Let me help. You little slut. Sweating so much, let me lick you clean." I shook with fear. As an Omega, I was especially sensitive to such hostility. Back on that barren planet, I had always pretended to be a beta. Now exposed like this in public, I panicked. My roommate grabbed my phone and threw it on the bed. "Cameron, don't look at that. It's all idiots posting this crap." Then he flung open the door and stormed out. "What are you looking at? Stop filming. If you keep it up, I'll smash your phones." Dominic's voice came from the door. He hadn't returned since that day. I looked up. Eyes red. And met his gaze. He raised his phone and started recording. Saying, Since you love causing trouble, I'll make you famous. The crowd quickly dispersed. He slammed the door shut. He glanced at me, then asked my roommate, "Give me the original post link." "And you?" His tone softened as he looked at me. Eyes still red. "Give me your phone. It's on the bed." Watching Dominic's cold expression as he worked quickly on the computer, I suddenly felt so vulnerable. I clenched my fingers to stop myself from whining or complaining to him. I even wanted to hug him. Maybe I just needed his calming scent. After being marked, an Omega becomes dependent on their alpha, but Dominic wasn't my alpha. I bit my lip. Restless. Suddenly, the room filled with cedar scent, soothing and washing away my anxiety and fear. After some work, Dominic deleted the post and linked all the message senders to another post revealing their professional info. Private messages shifted from harassment to begging for mercy. All photos taken without permission were also removed. My roommate cheered. "That's awesome." When Dominic looked over proudly, the world around me seemed to mute. Only my heartbeat thundered loudly. 12. The next morning, as soon as I opened the door, a senior from my major was waiting, grabbing my hand and looking me over. "Are you okay? You scared me yesterday." Before I could reply, Dominic grabbed my hand and pulled me back into the dorm, closing the door behind us. The other two roommates had morning classes, so it was just the two of us. He pressed me against the door, water dripping from his hair onto my chest. Eyes bloodshot. "Who was that guy? Is he your new sleeping partner? Is your heat cycle back again? Can you smell his scent too?" I blinked, saying nothing. Dominic's eyes grew redder, like a lonely puppy abandoned. "Can you stop seeing others? Just be with me." I suppressed a smile and asked, "Why? Why only you?" "Because I like you. I know you don't like me. Even if you treat me like a hookup, I'll accept it." "No." "What do you mean no?" He frowned. I smiled up at him. "He doesn't have any scent. Only you are special." 13. We returned to being inseparable, only now Dominic was the one making the moves. My roommate glanced at Dominic's back while he did my laundry and gave me a thumbs up. "Impressive. I've never seen the cold school prince be so attentive. Tell me, what's your status now? Together?" "Not yet. Being an Omega made it hard for me to trust or open up emotionally." "Are you feeling anything?" "Feelings? I had fallen a long time ago. That day, food disgusted me. Just the smell made me want to vomit. Dominic insisted on taking me to the hospital to check my stomach. After a day of throwing up acid, I had no energy to argue and went with him. While paying, a pregnant woman next to me was flirting with her husband. Suddenly, an idea struck me, and I grabbed Dominic to leave. "What's wrong? Not going to wait?" Dominic protested. "If you can't eat, that's not good either." Blushing, I sent him to buy a pregnancy test. He stared, wide-eyed. "Why buy that?" "Never mind." He obeyed and handed it to me. I went to the bathroom. 2 lines. I was pregnant, carrying Dominic's child. I stared at the 2 lines, barely able to react. Then slowly placed my hand on my belly. There really was a new life inside? But should I keep it? Suddenly, pounding on the door. "Cameron. Are you okay? I'm coming in." I smiled suddenly. Having a dad like Dominic might not be so bad. I opened the door. He looked at me nervously. eyes landing on the test. You. I'm pregnant. Ah. Dominic was stunned. It's your child. I told you before. Omegas can get pregnant after full marking. Dominic looked shocked. Then ecstatic. My child. He gently touched my belly. Pouting. A little hurt. You're already pregnant, when are you going to make it official? 14. The early pregnancy drained me. And I lost 5 or 6 pounds. Dominic's eyes were red with worry. Every day. He found ways to make delicious food for me. We even moved in together. One morning. I really craved the beef buns from the place near school. Dominic got up early to buy some for me. But as soon as he left, someone knocked on my door. Did Dominic forget his keys? I rubbed my eyes and looked through the peephole. There stood a food delivery guy. Did Dominic order food for me? I opened the door. The delivery guy smiled. Then suddenly jabbed a needle into my neck. A sharp pain shot through me. I immediately lost consciousness. Cameron. Cameron. Wake up. Dominic's voice grew closer. I slowly opened my eyes. Dominic sighed in relief. Why are you sleeping on the floor? It's so cold. What if you catch a cold? You can't even take medicine while pregnant, this must be so hard for you. I ignored his rambling and suddenly grabbed his shirt, pulling him into a fierce kiss. His eyes lit up with excitement as he lightly bit my lip. But I knew we were finished. Dominic. Dominic, our connection had always been a mistake. 15. Dominic was my mission target. A year ago. My brother fell seriously ill and needed an expensive reagent to survive. Each injection cost 1 million star coins. I could work my whole life and never earn that much. At the same time, the Empire's general's deputy was collecting all Omega pheromones. The general's youngest son had been in a coma after being attacked by brain parasites during the insectoid wars. The general planned to find an Omega with a high compatibility score to enter his son's mind and wake him. If successful, the reward was 10 million star coins. With a 2 million deposit. Watching my brother weaken on the hospital bed, I clenched my fist and approached the team. I removed the blocking patch from the back of my neck and took a gamble. After testing my pheromones, they delivered the 2 million deposit that afternoon. I gathered another 100,000 star coins and bought the expensive reagent for my brother. His health slowly improved. But the general's team didn't take further action, until 2 months ago when they came to me. Everything was ready. They would put me in a capsule and let me enter Dominic's dreams. I was the Omega with the highest compatibility and the best chance to wake him. But something went wrong. I lost my memory of the mission and believed I had entered a normal world. The brain parasite injected ancient human memories into Dominic's mind, making him think he was one of them, forever trapped. Unable to wake. My job was to make Dominic fall in love with me. Then disappear. So the dream controller could call him out and fully wake him. The capsule opened. And the harsh light made me close my eyes. When my vision cleared, the general, his wife, and the deputy all looked at me hopefully. I nodded at them. After replenishing my nutrients, they intended for me to cooperate with the dream controller to wake Dominic. But he suddenly opened his eyes. The general's couple hurried me onto the spaceship. I returned to that barren planet. But this time with 8 million star coins left and a child growing inside me. 16. Because I was in someone else's body. They couldn't watch me constantly. When they noticed I was off track, they sent people to wake me. No one knew I was carrying a child. The doctor said Dominic's memories from the coma might fade as the parasite's toxins weakened. I took my payment and had no reason to stay by his side. After returning home, I took my luggage and moved near my brother's university on the main planet. I bought a place and invested in a dessert shop nearby. The main planet's management was strict, so I didn't have to pretend to be a beta anymore. Every day, I wore a blocking patch to work. My brother and I sold desserts together after his classes. Lately, I lacked alpha pheromones during pregnancy and felt weak and dizzy. My brother kindly helped me to the sofa and poured me a cup of hot water. I looked at him. Through the shadows, he had grown into a strong alpha. Even taller than me, though still with a bit of a temper. While working, he grumbled, "If I find out who bullied you, I'll knock their head into their stomach." I didn't tell him about everything. But with the sudden money and my pregnancy, he guessed something was wrong. He cried, feeling guilty and protective. He thought I was being bullied by the powerful. He studied hard and got into the top military academy, just to one day stand up for me. But it was a misunderstanding. I couldn't explain everything because of a confidentiality agreement. Mid-rant, he suddenly changed topic. "Guess who came to my school today?" "Who?" "Dominic. He even personally taught us how to use mechs." Harrison's words made my heart tighten. Dominic was nearby. A huge wave of longing engulfed me. We hadn't seen each other in 2 months. My belly was slightly showing now. A faint cedar scent drifted in. Tentative but present. My glands twitched and I broke out in itchy goosebumps. Pregnant omegas need an alpha's comfort. Dominic's faint pheromones were just a drop in the bucket for me now. I wanted more. But Dominic didn't even recognize me anymore. I couldn't go out. The bell rang, someone had an order ready. Harrison hurried out. Surprised. "Dominic. You like desserts too?" I perked up. My boyfriend loves them. So he already had a boyfriend. Oh? What does he like? Our signature dish. My heart clenched. The signature was a replica of the Chinese dessert from the school neighborhood, the one I especially loved. It had a peony flower on top and panna cotta underneath. Delicate, beautiful, and delicious. I worked hard to recreate the perfect flavor, pouring all my memories into it, my unique memory for him. "Okay. Please wait." Harrison was about to start making it when I stood up. "I'll do it. A perfect ending. Just for myself." 17. That afternoon, I went to the hospital for artificial alpha pheromone therapy. This treatment was designed for pregnant omegas to supplement missing alpha pheromones and help keep the baby healthy. After the session, my face was pale. It was the first time. And only a small amount was released. My body had a mild rejection reaction. And my glands felt like they were being pricked by needles. I rode the bus home, feeling dazed. As I opened the door, Dominic stood in the yard, eyes bloodshot, staring at me. My heart jumped. He approached. "Cameron. How dare you leave me and run away? The alpha scent on you stinks." He smirked evilly. "I'm going to lock you up so no one else can see you. You owe me a child." I slapped him hard. "Enough." His eyes instantly cleared. He grabbed my arm, red-eyed, making an expression totally unlike his usual cold face, like a big dog begging for affection. "Wifey. I finally found you. Come on. Slap me again. But use this much strength." I pushed his head away. But my heart was floating. I found Cameron's address but the place was empty. His neighbors said they had moved out long ago. He couldn't be too far from his brother. But before seeing him, I had to take care of everything. Fortunately, everything went smoothly.